I want to kind of demystify which branch do people buy. There's a lot of people, they don't know. They don't know. Should I buy a Fisher? What's the best? The first question is, what's the best metal detector? The best is, what's good for you? It's like, what kind of metal detecting you want to do. The first question I ask is, well, what do you want to go out there and look for? Do you want to go out there looking for coins? Do you want to go out there looking for jewelry on the beaches? Do you want to, there's people who detect underwater. They have scuba gear or hookah systems with a compressor, and they'll go down there and they'll do shallow water beach combing. They'll find lost rings because a lot of swimmers wear their jewelry and their blood constricts and the jewelry falls off. I've seen it happen. So some people prospect for gold. The gold prospecting, the specialty of that is really increased because of the dramatic price in gold in the last 11 years. So it's very popular right now, especially with the shows. People are really getting into it. They're getting excited about it. So I kind of want to dabble primarily in electronic prospecting for gold, but I also want to start in the beginning. How do you find a metal detector? What's a good metal detector for you? Like I said, there's about 5 manufacturers, like the top brands. That's Garrett, Fisher, Tesoro, Minelab, and Weiss. And there's Bounty Hunter, there's Compass. These are more like metal detectors you can find at like Big 5 or Cabela's and stuff. Those are more like intro metal detectors. They're not the best, but they can find coins. So, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over basically the parts of a metal detector. I'm going to go into the electronics of it, how these things work. You don't really need to know some of this stuff, but it does help. If you understand how these things work, the coils work, it may give you 10% edge finding something. So that's quite a bit. But every metal detector, regardless if it's a $5,000 machine or if it's a $300 machine, they all have certain things in common. And one of the most important parts is the coil. This is an antenna. Okay, this thing creates an electromagnetic field. And visually, if you could picture this as the coil, these are windings. There's copper, they're spun around there. When you put a current through there, it creates this field. And there's fields all over us. The lights give us an electromagnetic field. Anywhere where there's electricity, there's a field. There's a little field of it. So metal detectors also create a field. And the metal detector itself doesn't find the metal. It actually, what it does is when it creates that field, you have this electromagnetic induction that's being created by the target. When it's hit, it actually electrifies it a little bit, and there's another current that's a very small little voltage that's created on the surface of that target. Yeah. And then the receiver picks up on that small current. It's actually an electrical process. That's kind of how they work. They send out a field when it's interrupted by a target, a metal target, or a mineral target. Rocks can actually, they're semiconductive. Things like they call them ferrous oxides. There's certain minerals out there that are black rocks, and there's a lot of iron in them, natural iron, and they're semiconductive. So when that field hits that iron, it actually creates a small field too. But it doesn't retain it very much and decays very fast. So the problem with the iron, the natural mineralization, when you're out there detecting, I have a gentleman here in Winnemucca, Nevada, they were out there hunting a ghost town. They turned their machine on, there was just so much of this noise. It's kind of like a fog, a blanket over real good targets, and the metal detector can't penetrate it because it just overloads. There's so much abundant iron out there. Natural iron, I'm not talking about things like this. That could be a problem too. So that's the coil. It's an antenna. Some people call it a search coil, a coil antenna, whatnot. And then you have the lower rod assembly, and you have the upper shaft. And these things here, actually, depending upon your height, some people are little children, like, you know, there's my daughter right there. She's running the commander coil. You could actually make this thing longer, okay, and, or shorter, okay. And then you go up into here, this is the core, and then you have an LCD display. You have a little display, and depending on the detector, it'll give you, like, is this iron, or is this the probability of iron, 90%. All of them go beep. They all have a tone when you go over a signal. This is the control box. Right here, this is the brain of any metal detector. There's one right here, Tesoro. This is a Weiss. This is a Minelab. It's huge. This is another one here. That's where all the oscillators, filters, transistors, there's a lot. It's a computer in here. okay? And then you have an arm cuff right here, you have it handled, and you go with it. They all look similar. Okay. The cheaper models, let's say they run from 200 to 400. The difference between a cheaper model and an expensive model is actually what's in here, the electronics. Okay. Some are very sophisticated, like that pulse induction MyLab there. That's a very sophisticated machine. So, what's the best metal detector? The best metal detector for you is the one that you can afford. Okay, if you're going to go out there coin hunting, you don't need a gold detector. You don't need to spend $800 for a gold detector. You could go with a little silver UMax. You know, $200, $300. You can go out there and find all the coins you want. Okay, one thing that's really nice to have if you're looking for a coin jewelry machine is the ability to discriminate out trash. Square nails. I need to show you. Okay, I found this bucket too, metal detector. See in here? There's hundreds of square nails. There's probably thousands of square nails. These are targets I dug personally myself. Just a few of them that I kept. Most of them I tossed because I kind of like them. Some are kind of curved. Some miners up here, by the way, they use them as tools. They made them as hooks. They improvised. There's some big ones. I kept these because there's a little red. But I kept these because they're cool. But I just dug out thousands of others. You know, and I only go out maybe once a week, among other things that I find. So, but the ability to discriminate out, when you're looking for a coin, coins are primarily made out of silver or gold, the older ones, and you have the new ones that are copper clad. They're non-ferrous. There's no iron in it. Okay, so if you're out there in an area, like out here, this fairground, and you want to look for coins, you want to have the ability to tweak this sucker, put the discriminator onto a certain section where it eliminates that sound of the iron, because you just want to listen to good stuff like coins or rings. So a good coin detector will have the ability to discriminate out the trash. Okay, that's what makes it really nice. And most of them out there, whether they're $200 or $1,000, they have the ability to do that. Okay, now you can't. So they have the ability to do that. Another important factor when you buy a metal detector, remember name brand. I don't care if it's a Fisher, White's, Tesoro. I deal in Weiss and Tesoro, but I'm not objecting to Fisher. Great machines, MyLab's excellent machines. Garrett's wonderful machines. Another most important thing is coil size. That's the second most important thing to find here. There's different sizes in coils. There's small ones like this, and there's really long ones like this. Okay, this is a long coil. This sucker I would not use in the trashy area because it has a large sweep. It covers a lot of ground. You're going to get multiple targets. You're not going to be able to pinpoint the target itself very well. You're going to just hear, it's just going to get really, really bad. So really small, because what it does is it creates a long electromagnetic field. So if you sweep it and there's a target here, target here, target there may be 30 targets. It's just going to go whang, 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 whang. Okay? But if you get a small coil like this, it creates a smaller field. So you can pinpoint the good stuff between the bad stuff. I call it surgical detecting. And I've had sites where there's so much of these square nails, but in between those nails, there's a cool button or a coin. So you want to be able to direct that electromagnetic field. You hear zip, 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 zip. So if you have your discriminator on, you're going to eliminate that iron, but you're going to hear that target right in between that trash. So whenever you buy a metal detector, make sure that metal detector you buy, you can interchange coils. Most of them have that, so you don't have to worry about that. You can take this coil port off the housing, and if it's a really trashy area, you get a tiny little coil. They make them even 4 inches. Those are really cool. Or if you're looking for, let's say you're at a big park, a football field, or you're at the beach, if you live at the beach, a lot of open area there, I would use one of these. Because you can just go, you don't have to overlap very much. Every time you swing, you'll be overlapping because this is so wide. So you're going to cover a lot of territory, and you're going to get those good targets, because beaches really don't have a lot of trash. You wouldn't take a coil like this. It would take you forever to cover a certain area of the beach. Football fields, same thing, stuff like that. So for coin hunting, the ability to discriminate. Some have LCD displays. I personally, when I hunt, I don't look at it. I dig every target. If I hear a beep, I dig it. Okay? And I'll tell you why. Well, I'll tell you right now. I'll show you right now an example of a find that was found in this area here. There was a little metal can like this. And you hear that? This is rare. This is an unusual find. So we opened it up, and inside there were little, look at that, these are real gold flakes from the 1800s. To me, it's kind of cool because it's some history. And they're really stained iron. Iron, becomes almost a mineral eventually. It's going to become a mineral part of the earth again. But that's a neat thing. Sometimes when they say, don't look at this display, oh, is it a ring, is it a nickel, or is it a penny, or this and that. Personally, the guys who get the most stuff out there are the ones who are digging every target. I could dig a target and move on before you even analyze what it is. Is it a nickel or a dime, or is it a quarter? Who cares? Dig it and move on. You're going to have more stuff in your little pouch. And plus these things here, the LCD display, when they tell you if it's this or that, they're not accurate. There's a lot of variables. If it's a really deep, it's not going to tell you it's a quarter. If it's at the surface, the computer has a better, it's more accurate. So you really can't go by that. If you hear a little zip zip, dig the darn thing. There are instances when I'm out there hunting for coins or relics, where I'm out there for 4 or 5 hours and I'm digging this iron, this and that, and I only have like an hour or two left. What I do is I put the discriminator on, where I'm eliminating a lot of these little square nails, and I'm just listening to that beep for non-ferrous objects, things that are non-iron. They could be lead, they could be copper, brass, gold, or silver. So I'm speeding things up. I don't want to hear that trash. I don't want to spend the time digging iron. I want to dig out good targets. So sometimes I'll do discriminator in that case. Okay. So that's kind of a really neat find right there. I've got to put that in here so I can lose it, like some old wire loss.
Does the size of the head have any bearing on depth?
Size of the target? Absolutely.
No, the size of your head?
Yes, it does. Yes, good question. Thank you. That's all right. There's more where that came from. Yes, small coils like this create a smaller electromagnetic field. The field itself, see these lines? This is kind of an example. The field itself, it's more tight. Okay, so smaller coils, they don't go as deep as larger coils. Let's say this is a monocoil, it's a large coil. But they are very sensitive to small little pieces, targets. I've dug up, I don't know if you guys know, but up here we have these shoe tacks. Miners used to put little, put their sole. They're tiny. I found half of those with small coils. They're that super sensitive. Now, if you're looking for targets that are deeper, you may want a larger coil. It just depends, To me, it's like, okay, what job am I going on today? What tools do I need? What coil am I going to put on my detector? If it's a really trashy area, you know what? Sometimes I go with a really small coil. I don't care about the depth, because most of the stuff that are man-made buttons and coins, they drop out of the guy's pocket. They don't really dig themselves down 12 inches. I rarely dug coins that deep, unless they're in the sand. Again, it depends where you're at. But over here in this area, you're talking surface to 6, 7 inches. So I like the small coils in that instance. But the larger the coil, they create a more expanded field, and it just goes deeper. It goes deep. But because the field itself is a little wider, you may miss some of the smaller pieces. Okay. Again, there's a lot of variables. We can't get into every little thing. But yeah, the rule is bigger coil, deeper, small coil, surface to maybe 6, 7 inches. That's a great question. Tools. When you're out there coin hunting or relic hunting, one of my favorite tools is a pick. I'm not going to use this at the courthouse lawn. Okay? The judge will come out and probably hang me. You use different things. When you're out there at school, nice sod, there's nice grass. You got to use common sense. You don't want to use stuff like that. You'll get kicked out. Not only that, it'll give us all a bad name. Use tools like this. You use tools like this. What this does is, what you want to do is, if you have a target, you pinpoint it where exactly, most of these targets too are right in the center of that. When you go over a target, just look in the center, you can kind of tell where it's at. What you want to do is you want to dig a little plug, pull that out, take that target out, and put that back in there. Make it look really, really nice, better than what it was. So yeah, be careful with that. There's tools like this too. I don't know, I've never used this, but you punch it down, you pull that plug out, you take your target and you put it back in there. So be careful with lawns. you'll lose your privilege very, very fast, trust me. I'm sure some of you who've metal detected have experienced that. So coin hunting to me and relic hunting is one of those, you know, you get satisfaction out of it because a lot of times when you go out there, let's say you have a Saturday or Sunday, you go out there for 6 hours, you're going to find something. And some of that stuff that people call trash, they're actually pretty cool. I call them rust or relics. I have them all over my house. They're really neat. You know, things like this, I keep. You know, I keep. Oh, another reason, just another example, I have a lot of customers and people who bring things in. Discrimination knob, you know, I'm sure I missed a lot of caches like this, at least I like to think so, but this right here was dug in Mariposa County. And the fellow who dug it, he had $750 in gold coins in here, gold value coins, not like the value of the $20 eagles, half eagles, whatnot. A friend of mine dug this up. What the guy, it's a fortune. What the guy did, he obviously put a tin can over it, so when he's digging it out, he needs $5. He didn't want to break the glass. It's a mason jar full of gold. This one actually held a lot of gold, so it's out there. So if you use discrimination, you don't dig every target, yeah, you might have just passed, you know, $50,000 in gold. It happens. It happens. So, yeah, it's true. But what I do primarily over here, you know, I carry, especially right now, there's snake season, I carry a backpack with water. You do need the tools of the trade. It's not just a metal detector. You need a good digging tool. If you're digging lawns, you want something nice, surgical. If you're digging out there in the field, in the bush or in the rocks, this is what you need. You get down there and just dig that hole. And I have magnets right here too. These magnets are part of this. A lot of times when I get a target, I dig and a little square nail or something sticks to that, so I don't have to look for it. It's instant. I can move on and go. So it just helps. I look at it, what it is. That was like, that was a little target. There's little ones too. There's another one that has a magnet at the bottom right here. So when you're digging, you just go like this, picks up the little tag. It just expedites things. Coins. So specialty detecting. You know, if you're at the beach, there's special detectors that work really well in salty water, where there's alkaline salts and mineral salts too. Salts are semi-conductive. Salts will interfere with that electromagnetic field. They make detectors for that too. Here's one right here. This is, I've used this at the river here, the Merced River. It works great. It's a completely submersible metal detector. It's a VLF, very low frequency detector. It emits a constant electromagnetic field. It's basically one of these, but it's in a housing. And this could go down to 200 feet. You would never go to 200 feet. You could use it on land or in water. So if you're out there at the beach or the rivers or where there's water holes, you'd want something like this. That's all you're going to do. You know, you don't need this. Okay? So there's underwater metal detectors. There's the military uses metal detectors right here for landmines. They're specialty. Okay? Metal detectors. Any questions regarding coin hunting or jewelry or?
If you were using that in the water and there a rock there that had gold in it, would it?
Okay, great question. Now that metal detector there, it can find gold, but it has to be a certain size. You know, if it's a little flake, let's say it's there's a gram, you know, a gram. Size like this is maybe 0.3 grams. It's kind of tiny. It'll probably miss this, you know. But if it's a piece of jewelry like your heart right there, it'll pick that up. Rope chains, stuff like that, it's wonderful. Coins, it just eats up coins, stuff like that. But that's a VLF detector. Pulse induction would probably be better for that because of the black sands and things. But it depends on the size. Same thing with depth. The bigger the target, the deeper it's going to go. Smaller, you know.
Do you get more depth in the water, like when you use a metal detector like that along the surface and you get down 24, 36 inches?
Mm-hmm.
How far can you go?
Well, you know, you mentioned water and moist ground. Yes, I've been out there after the rains. It's a great time to metal detect because the target itself, also the minerals themselves, they become more conductive. You know how water is a conductive thing, if you're in a pool, electricity falls in. Well, it also helps, you may get a little bit more depth too, believe it or not. So after a rain, if you're out there, it's a beautiful day, you're probably going to dig a little bit more deeper that day. But in water, you know, it just depends. If you're out there, the ocean itself has a lot of salts, black sands. So I like pulse technology in situations like that because pulse technology works a little bit differently. A pulse, this is a pulse detector. They both emit electromagnetic fields, but here's where pulse technology really, I'd say, is better than a BLF. You know how I was saying the black sands, you've seen them all on the beaches, they're semi-conductive. Well, when that black sand gets electrified and creates a little current of its own, it decays very fast. Because, you know, when we were in school, copper, gold, and silver, the electron flow goes really well. Well, minerals don't hold that flow of electricity very well. So once it gets electrified, it decays. Pulse induction is exactly what that is. It creates a pulse of electromagnetic field, instantly shuts off, and when it turns back on, it only sees the metal because all the black sands, the hematite, magnetite, the stuff, it decayed, it disappeared, just went to thin dust. So pulse induction works very well in highly mineralized ground. That's where it's just so much better than a BLF. BLFs can actually eliminate mineralization too, but it doesn't work as well as pulse induction. Pulse induction metal detectors tend to go a little bit deeper in mineralized ground. Okay, there's a lot of ground out here with gold in it that's not very mineralized. You don't need an expensive machine. A White's Goldmaster, a Tesoro Lobo, a Fisher Gold Bug tube, they work just fine. Those are very effective. Fisher Gold Bug 2 and the Whites, they're very sensitive to really small pieces. I mean, pieces like this, even smaller, you could hit it about an inch to the surface, a little bit tip. So let me turn this one on. Just show you here. It's called a threshold, and the reason it's chattery is the electromagnetic, there's a lot of disturbance in here. So what I'll do is there's a lot of disturbance in here. Let's see. That's not bad. Okay? That's gold. The thing about this machine, a lot of these machines, the Gold Bug 2 and the Garrett Stinger and stuff, they have these little LCD displays, and in this case, like, if you run a piece of gold over it, I have a ring on. You see that? Okay, here it's not that loud. But it'll tell you the percentage, the probability of iron. So if it's a square nail, okay, it'll tell you right here, there's a graph. Oh, look, 100% probability it's iron. You're not going to dig that if you're looking for gold and you want to waste time. But if you're looking for silver or gold, it's a softer sound. It'll give you like under 50% probability. Those targets like that, I would dig. Okay, but if it's 100%, see how fast that sound comes back? This is much softer. There's people who really have good hearing. They could actually tell the difference between brass, bullet brass, like casings, silver and gold. I don't have that. That's why I dig every target. I'd rather dig every target. So metal detectors like this are pretty neat, actually. And the more you use it out there, you're going to find things.